This is the Blind Grilling Experience, and I am the most interesting griller in the world. Welcome back to the Blind Grilling Experience. I am Chris Peltz, and joining me, as he often does, is Mr. John Grimes down in Texas.
Good.
How you doing?
Interesting griller. I'm doing well. How are you?
Yeah, man, doing great. And man, we have had some of the best weather ever for the beginning of August. Although it got hot today, man, we were like highs in the 70s, lows in the 50s to start the month of August. Unbelievable. And man, we took advantage of it when it came to getting to the grill. It was awesome. We smoked a whole brisket. I did the whole chicken. I was tearing it up, man. I was just enjoying it so much. 'Cause you don't get that kind of weather at the first, in the middle of summer, at the beginning of August in the Ozarks, man.
Maine or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah. And down here in Texas, it was 100 today, but earlier in the week, it was like 78 degrees at noon.
Yeah.
And I was at lunch, and we all went outside. We had lunch outside.
Right.
On August, in the first week of August, which was just, but it corrected itself. It's hot again.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, of course. But that's fine. Hey, man, it was beautiful, while it lasted, for sure. And it just makes me look forward to fall all that much more at this point, since it was definitely heat indexes over 100 today here. But yeah, it was great. But so what you been throwing on the grill, man?
Well, you're much more active than me as usual, but in the last week, I've cooked some fillets twice. We go to Costco, and they have a deal on prime fillets. They're like $14 a pound, which is ridiculously inexpensive. The downside is you get a pack of 4 or 5 of them, and they're all different sizes.
Yeah.
So we last time we were there, we got a pack of 5, and we cooked 2, froze the rest, and then cooked the other 3, which were smaller ones, a couple days ago. So in the last week, we've been eating pretty well with the fillets.
Yeah. Oh yeah, awesome. Yeah, man. And that's I had actually had a buddy call me from New York, and they were looking, gonna get some steaks, and the fillets were $15 a pound, and which it's a lot more than what I'm getting whole beef tenderloins for $9.99 a pound, and every once in a while it'll be on sale for $8.99 a pound, and then we can just cut it ourselves.
That's crazy. Where are you getting that?
Yeah, right. I got a butcher here in town, man. Wow. And that's
real beef, right?
It's what?
It's real beef. That sounds like fake beef.
That's right. Oh yeah. And dude, it is amazing, man. Oh. I mean, it cooks up, just as nice as anything, man. It's awesome. And
when I go to the grocery store, the prime fillets that they have in there they're $29 a pound.
Yeah. And this is not prime by any means. I mean, they've got prime, and yeah, it's up there. It's crazy expensive, and they've even got some Wagyu, which is outrageous. Yeah. But yeah, they got a whole beef tenderloin that they do for $9.99 a pound, and man, I mean, it's amazing. I can grind each end up, if I want. I can get a center cut. I can do whatever I want once I get it home, and smoke the whole tenderloin, or cut it up and make our own fillets. But man,
how long does it last you? What or how much do they usually weigh?
Well, now that really varies. They might weigh only 2.5 pounds, or I've gotten them as big as about 3.25.
Okay.
So they're not huge, but yeah, I mean they'll last. I mean I'll smoke the whole thing, and then we'll not only slice it up then, and eat good, but then we'll have some amazing meat for quesadillas or fajitas or or something else. So yeah, do something else with it, but it's good stuff, man. It's hard to beat a fillet. And like I told the guy from New York who called, Walter, he called me up, and I told him, I said, that's one of the easiest pieces of meat that you could cook. Even if, especially inside the house, if you're gonna do it in a skillet, on the stove, and in the oven, it's one of the easiest steaks to cook, and it's probably one of the best tasting as well. So it's definitely one of my favorites.
Oh yeah, I mean I cook them hot, and it takes 8 minutes.
Yeah.
4 minutes on each side.
Yeah. Yeah.
Done. For medium rare, which is what I like.
Right.
At about 600 degrees.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And now, did you try a little something different? I think we were talking before. You had a cast iron griddle that you might try.
I had it a few weeks ago in May or June, I guess, and I've been wanting to try it, but I've been nervous because I wanted to try it on a fillet, but it's the it's the Cadillac of meats, and I didn't want to burn it or mess it up. So
right.
On the second part of my fillet cook, I did use it, and very well.
Yeah, awesome.
It was very easy. I cooked one. There were 3 of them, and I cooked the smallest one on there in case I did mess it up. But it was I didn't. No problems. Yeah. It was easy, and it was good.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. That's great.
Got a great sear on it, which is what I was interested in. I normally just cook them on the grates, but the one that was on the cast iron was seared very nicely.
Yeah,
so I like that.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, that's awesome. That is awesome. Well, anything upcoming cooks wise?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Good question.
Yeah, man, I took the whole chicken that we smoked and I used it and put it in our jambalaya. I made some jambalaya and used that smoked chicken and just oh, dude, it sounds good. Yeah, it was great. So I was able to do that. We had some leftover brisket we made quesadillas with, so we did some of those things. I am real close to doing my hand at etouffee. I might do that this week.
Have you ever done that?
Nope, I haven't. I sure haven't.
Etouffee.
Yeah.
Would it be crawfish or shrimp or?
It'll probably be shrimp. I prefer crawfish, but I don't have any crawfish right now, and so it'll probably just be a shrimp etouffee. But we'll see. I'll have to give it a go and let you know how. Let me know how it works. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it goes, but. Well, we've got a couple of things that we want to be talking about for the program today, because you've been trying out a new device just released on July 28th, I think it was released. The ESight version 4 has come out, and they sent you a demo to give it a go and see what you think, and so we're going to talk about that a little bit because you've had some experience in times past briefly with the ESight device, and so there's been a lot of changes that have taken place with their new device, and you've been able to try it on a few different things, and so that's what we're going to be talking about for pretty much the remainder of the program. You've had it a little over a week. We'll let folks know what you think. Very quickly, though, I do want folks to know that there is a really good video by Carrie Morales over at Live Accessible on YouTube. If you would go to YouTube and search Live Accessible, you would find Carrie's page, and she did a review that she released back on August 3rd. She released her video, I believe it was, and it is full video, lots of stuff for those who have a little bit of vision. They can check out. She did some really cool demos and things with it as well, and so it's an awesome video. I'd really highly recommend folks check out Carrie's video over at Live Accessible on the ESight version 4 device. But John, you've had it for a week. All right, it came. And what are some of your first impressions when you get, especially concerning the idea that you've had some contact with some of the older versions?
Yeah, well, when I was heard I was going to get the chance to look at it, I was pretty excited. This is the second time I've seen it, and just I should also preface this by saying that what my visual acuity is, because it's not for everybody, but for ones that it works for, I think it's really good. Mine is my vision is 2300 in one eye and zero or blind in the other. So it's version 4 is the current one that just released, which is what I was using. I think it's either version 2 or 3 that I used about 2.5 years ago, and it is a lot different. It looks cooler. I feel like it fits better. So if you don't know what it is, it's essentially like sunglasses is kind of what it looks like from the front, that go over your eyes, and the sunglasses are attached. They don't sit on your ear. They're attached to a device or a ring that they call the halo that sits on top of your head, kind of at an angle over the crown of your head, which holds the glasses on so that your ears, the ears wouldn't be strong enough to support the weight of the glasses, which have a camera in them. And what the camera does is it, wherever you're looking, the camera sees it, and you can magnify up to 24 times, I believe, on just about anything that you want to magnify to. And the version 2 or 3 that I experienced previously seemed a little bulkier and seemed a little heavier, and it had a wire attached to a remote control that you would use to help maneuver through it. But this one is totally wireless. There's no wires. It's Bluetooth and Wi-Fi enabled. So there's some cool things that you can do with that capability, including, I would imagine, with the Wi-Fi update, the firmware and things on the device, which I would imagine they do pretty regularly. So just the differences from the previous one to now seem to be, I was impressed.
Yeah, a lot slimmer, wireless, and I'm sure there's a few more features, as far as the feature set is concerned, which we'll get into. But this is something that obviously is not for those who are totally blind. So you need to have some vision.
You need vision.
And if you use a zoom or a magnifier or something like that, then this would be something you might be interested in checking out. And so, so definitely smaller, slimmer, as from previous versions, which is great, which just goes to show you that they're really working on not only the technology, but, really putting in effort to make things, more comfortable and more user friendly overall. So, I mean, it's,
yeah, I think they've definitely gotten some good input from users. And I would imagine or actually I know that there are some pretty smart people and engineers that develop this, and it's very impressive. It is what they're doing is very impressive.
Now, you've been able to use it in several different ways, and well, before that even, some of the feature sets that it has. You talked about magnifying up to 24 times, but it doesn't just magnify, because I know when I was low vision before losing any usable vision, contrast was a big deal for me. Colors, black and white, adding in maybe some blue, and just changing all of those color contrasts and things like that made a big difference in being able to see things that were magnified or brought up close to me on computer screens and things like that. So is that some of the features that are available?
Yeah, it's kind of like if you've used a CCTV or one of these handheld, which I've used a CCTV, one of these handheld magnifiers,
like electronic magnifier,
yeah, and which has all those contrast settings and the color filters. It's got all that, and the great thing about it is it's hands free, so you're not using the magnifier, like the electronic magnifier, to move things. You're just moving your head around, and like the CCTV where it's in a fixed location, so you have to move things in front of the camera for that. With this, you just again move your head, and the camera moves with you. So it's got the contrast settings. It's got a pretty wide range there, and it's got the I use reverse. I like dark black. Let's see, is this right? Yeah, I like dark background with light text, and it's text. But it's got the yellow and blue, and it's got at least three or four other color filters that you can switch to whatever would suit you, and it would be pretty much what's on most CCTVs and those electronic magnifiers, I think. So,
and that's awesome. They've got it in such a small package that you can wear and just kind of and look at things and make those adjustments, and you can do that with the remote. But also, it connects via Bluetooth with your phone.
There's several ways you can use it. So there's a remote. There's actually two of them, which is genius because you're going to lose one. At least I would.
Yeah, right.
Awesome that they send two. And the remote's probably the easiest way. And the remote's kind of like similar size to like an Apple TV remote.
Oh yeah.
You're familiar? It's a rectangular. It's probably 3 inches long or so. Pretty narrow. It's easy to hold in your hand and put in your pocket or whatever when you're not using it. But there's also on the device itself on the right-hand side, there's a little touchpad area where you can use your finger to change some settings. The zoom thing would be the most common. So you can zoom in and zoom out just by swiping on this little sensitive area on the right side of the like the arm for the glasses.
Gotcha.
Then there's also with the Bluetooth capability, if you have the app installed, there's a remote on the app on your phone as well, so you can control it that way too.
And in full disclosure, I mean, this isn't. First of all, this isn't something that you get to keep. This is something you've been able to test out, check it out. You're going to be sending it back to them. But secondly, while there's lots of pros, there are a few cons, which would be things that they're working out, and one would be the app. On some of the newer phones, newer devices, there seems to be some glitches on that as well.
Yeah, the remote works fine through the app because I've used that. But there are some other features. They have a screen mirror feature where you can. So you would basically your device, and I have an iPhone. I have the SE2, the second generation SE. The literature I've seen from ESight says that they support the iPhone 8 and newer. The SE is newer. It's brand new.
Yeah, right.
So I don't, for whatever reason, the second gen SE is not compatible with the other features, which are there's a gallery where you can import photos from your phone to the ESight. You can also take pictures with the ESight, so you can use like a freeze frame thing where you can take pictures of things or people, and then you could transfer them to your mobile device. And then there's also a screen mirror where you can essentially like you would whatever the ESight is looking at would be mirrored on your device, your phone. So I mean, for sure, other people would be able to see basically what you're seeing.
Yeah, man, you took me back to the '80s and the skate rinks with freeze frame. Well, that's pretty cool. But I'm sure that's something that I'm sure through firmware.
That Wham freeze frame.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah, probably. But yeah, they'll get that. They'll get that worked out. I mean, that's sometimes when new products are coming out and new devices are coming out at the same time. That just takes a little catching up.
An iPhone 8 or a 10 or an 11. I think you're fine.
Yeah.
I can only speak from the iPhone because that's my experience, but it does work with Android and Samsung devices and others as well. But I don't know those.
Okay. So you've used it to read documents. You've used it to watch TV. You've used it at the grill, which obviously we are all about.
Yeah.
So some of those various cases, let's start with the grill. I mean, that's what I'm most interested in, especially for some of our low vision cooks out there. We use, of course, the Flame Boss to maintain and control temps and monitor temps with, because it's an accessible device. But as we've pointed out in times past, because of some high heat cooks, like you were talking about with the steaks, that pit probe isn't set up for above 450 or so. So if we're going to go 500, 600 degree cooks, we cannot use the Flame Boss. And so, not being able to see the actual thermometer that comes on the grill itself is, make things a little bit more difficult. So using this device, how did that work?
I did use it out there on the because I was cooking over the limits of the Flame Boss, and for me, without any kind of equipment or help from someone else, I can see the temperature gauge, but I can't decipher any of the numbers. So I did put on the ESight out there, and I could see the numbers.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so you'd be able to check the temperature on the egg itself at that high heat.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
when
awesome.
I opened the grill, it did help there. Typically, in general, it helped. In the case of the quick hot the fillets I was cooking in this example, the grill's really only open for a minute or two, as fast as I can, just to flip the meat. And then there's some smoke and things which would, that would get in the way of anybody's vision. But once you clear that, I did get a better look at the meat when it was through the ESight. But the biggest benefit I got was the temperature, being able to determine the temperature.
Right. Yeah. Which can be awesome. I mean, that's just, before the Flame Boss, I had no way other than, hey, call out my wife or my kids.
Hey, chill.
That's
Come over
right.
here for me.
That's right. So, so that was,
yeah. So yeah, if you're in that situation, this helps. Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is I think with in terms of vision loss or blindness, one of the things that is quickly understood that goes is the independence thing, where needing assistance on all manners of things. But this is definitely an area where it certainly helps for me with the temperature control at the grill and a little bit on the inside, but the inside is very limited activity because I'm, as Chris.
That's right.
If you're looking, you ain't cooking.
That's right. Exactly. Now, what about TV? I mean, that's something a lot of folks, they, visually impaired, would love to be able to see the TV a little bit better. Of course, everybody now wants the biggest TV that they can possibly get. And so when you have limited vision, sometimes, especially with tunnel vision, depending on the type of vision someone has, the bigger isn't always better in that scenario because your field of vision isn't all that big. But having a magnifier can sometimes help, but not always. So what was your experience with the TV?
There is a setting for, I think it's called cinema or theater on there where it's, I guess, set up for low light situations with the light in front of you, TV. I did use it in that environment, and I was able to, for me, I was able to zoom in to where the TV was pretty much the entire field of vision in the ESight, and it gave me better clarity of what I was watching. I was able to see people's attributes much more clearly than not wearing the ESight. The thing that gets a little bit tough about it, because I was zoomed in, I don't know what the zoom was, but it was probably at least, I would say it was at least 6 or 8. So the tricky part there, which I guess is probably learned through usage, is you got to keep your head still. If you move your head or sneeze or like wipe your nose or I don't know what,
Right, yeah.
but or somebody that's with you says something and you turn your
Turn your
head
head.
or something like that, you lose that focus and you got to regain it. But as long as you're able to mostly keep it straight and locked in, I did get a better view of the program I was watching.
Okay. So, but there are some limitations to that because, like you said, I mean that if you move your head, slightly, then that can throw things off. So, but overall,
I think with usage and getting to understand how it works, and because I experienced the same thing, like some areas that I used it would have been like with mail, for instance,
yeah.
getting
Well, that
postal
was
mail.
going to be my next question, like documents and things like that.
Yeah. So it is tough for me personally if I'm holding a document and with any device, this would be any device, trying to read it because let's say I'm holding a magnifier in one hand and I'm holding a document in the other hand, just your hands move. My hands move. So the biggest thing would be to stabilize as much as I can. And so what I would do is I put the document down or the mail or whatever I'm looking at, so I can at least keep that one from moving. And then I would zoom in with the ESight, and then they do have the ability to do a freeze frame, as we mentioned. And then with the gyroscope built in, you can freeze it, and then you basically just move your head
Freeze
around.
frame. Yeah.
Yeah, you just wham it,
It's right.
and George Michael comes out of the back,
Exactly.
and you can move around the document. So it was definitely useful for that. I used it for mail. I brought in some mail and some boxes and things, and I don't generally see who the boxes. I mean, there's really only two options here. Who's the boxes for? But it gave me a better idea of what if it was for someone else. But
yeah,
with mail and stuff, it was helpful for that. For that, for me personally, reading documents would not be beneficial, and it's nothing with ESight. It's just what the magnification that I need would be at least I don't know 10 to 18 probably. And when I'm zoomed in on text that's that big, it's just very tedious to try to read something. So for me, that function doesn't work if I'm going to read a paragraph or something.
Yeah, it becomes real tedious on that. Yeah.
For addresses and mail and boxes and things that are pretty quick, it's great for that. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. And that's something again that it's sometimes it's hard to do reviews on these types of devices because there's such a range of vision and visual acuity that people have, and some folks, this is going to be just a life-changing device, whereas others it can be helpful, but maybe not as helpful as that you'd want. I mean, there's just some, because of those differences, it's kind of hard to just be straightforward, like, oh, this is going to be great for you for, regardless, because that may not be the case, but then again, it might.
Yeah, that's definitely for sure. And they do have a ability. So I think it's the website is esighteyewear.com, and you can try it without buying it, I believe. And because it doesn't work for everybody, but for people that it works for, I think it would be, it could be life changing for that.
Yeah.
Because it's a nice device.
Yeah. And for those who it really works for, it's priceless. I mean, that, when it comes to being able to have that vision back that you've lost, a device that helps you to see things that, you haven't had something that has been able to help you see it again, or to make it so much easier, then, price is like, who cares, right? But then if it's one of those things where, it helps for this and for that, a few things here and there, then it may not be worth, the money regardless of the price. But this is an expensive device. I mean, this isn't something that is just, $100, $200 or something. We're talking thousands of dollars. here, while they've come down in price from their previous versions, for sure. You're still looking at between $5,000-$6,000, at least from what I understand, even from Carrie's video over at Live Accessible. So it's still going to be a large chunk of change. But like I said, if this is something that works for you, that is that life-changing device, then that's
ways to make it happen.
Yeah.
There's financing, and they have a program where you can basically have donations and things made on your behalf, which would help pay for the device. But you'd have to check with them for the specifics on that. But I mean, there are ways to do it. Just like anything, where there's a will, there's a way, and I think this does work for some people.
Yeah, and I want to defend the price a little bit for folks, because the idea that things are this expensive, when it comes to those who are blind or visually impaired, we go to get devices. They're sometimes are just absolutely outrageous in cost. But you need to understand, first of all, the development that goes into it. The time and energy and money spent to develop these, to improve on them for a really small market. This isn't something that is mass made going to millions of people, and which would bring down cost immensely, because you got so many people buying it. This is something that, it doesn't even work, for everyone who's blind or visually impaired. So, so the cost is definitely justifiable in on their end, because of everything they put into it, all the technology, and as you pointed out, the leaps and bounds they've made, now into the fourth version. They deserve what they're asking for, definitely.
Yeah.
And they recognize, first of all, the expense, and so they are going themselves, making the effort to set up ways and means to help you to obtain the device, which, it says a lot, I think, for the company as well.
Yeah, it does.
So that's cool. Well, any last impression, anything that, just, good and bad, that, your favorite thing about it and your least favorite thing about the device?
Favorite thing about the device? Well, it, again, for things that I need to read quickly or look at quickly. I mean, I got a good look at my wife.
Hey.
For the first time in about 10 years.
Right. Okay. And you're still with her, or is she still with you? I guess.
We're good. We're good. It's for these really what I would call kind of small, and you may think small life things, but I guess for someone with visual impairment, it's not. Just being able to quickly see something is pretty priceless.
Yeah.
And it definitely does that. The con to it would be, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how long you can wear it. The battery lasts 2 hours, which I think is okay. They ship 2 batteries with it. So essentially you'd have 4 hours, and I don't know that you'd be wearing it for more than 4 hours at any given time. Or maybe you would. I don't know. It certainly helps in lots of areas, and depending upon what you do throughout the day, maybe 4 hours is, it's possible. It probably would get heavy after a while. I've burned through the battery a few times, so I've gotten hours of usage out of it. It never really was a problem. And at some point, I kind of forget it's there. But I would think over time it would get a little heavy. Mm-hmm. You can swap batteries on the go, so if the battery's going down, it'll tell you. It voices the screen as well. It's kind of like a screen reader in the sense that it will take you through the prompts and zoom levels and color filters and things that you're on. So it tells you those things. You don't have to rely on vision for that.
But it's not an OCR, so it doesn't tell you what you're looking at. It just tells you as you're going through the settings and things.
It says what settings you're on, what the levels are, and basically all the built-in inputs. But it's not going to read any text or any OCR stuff that Not yet, anyway. I imagine that's in the works, but
And one thing you didn't do, or did you, any traveling? I mean, you're
no.
walking around with it.
I've been in around my house on the inside, of course, and I've been in the front yard and the backyard, but that's as far as I got to the mailbox. And then in the back, I was able to see, sitting on my back porch, I found a hole, in one of the boards in my fence.
Okay.
I was like, "Hey, there's a light coming through there. What is that?" And that I wouldn't have been able to notice before.
Right.
So my fence would probably be from where I was sitting, I don't know, 30 feet away at least.
Okay.
And I was just rolling through the zoom levels and just seeing. I was trying to see how far across the street I could see. And then I got locked in on the privacy fence and noticed that there's a board needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
And I fixed that board
Oh,
as well.
great. There's
That's a pro too, because I
Yeah.
hadn't seen that before. So
Yeah.
in general, I think there are some really intelligent people and engineers that are working to make this a really robust device.
Mhm. Yeah, it sounds like it. It sounds really cool. It sounds like something that I would have loved to have been able to try when I had usable vision. But I'm just glad it's out there for those now, to be able to check it out and try it. And again, we would encourage you to go and check out Live Accessible on YouTube, the video that Carrie put together. A great video, some demos there. So if you have a little bit of vision, you'll be able to kind of check out the demo that she does on the ESight device, version 4, wireless with Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and I mean just as John, you point out, a really robust set of parameters that they've built into this particular device. They've really brought it down, scaled it down. And there's a lot of good things about it, and it'd be worth checking out if you have some usable vision. You can get in touch with ESight and find out if it's let them know. They can probably ask some questions. You can tell them about the vision you've got, and they'll let you know if it's something they think would be worth trying for you, and go from there. So I think folks could possibly get a lot out of it, especially if they're low vision, especially if they use CCTVs a lot. I mean, this one you can wear in your head is it could really do a lot for folks. I can see where that would really come in handy. And so I'm excited about it, even though I can't use it personally, but I know there's a lot of folks out there that will get a lot out of it if they give it a try. So. All right, man. Well, I know you've enjoyed having it for this period of time. And that's, and dude, I'm so excited you got to see your wife. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's,
yeah. I don't know if she's excited about it or not, but
dude, well, hopefully you told her she's, just how beautiful you think she is. So
yeah, I did.
Absolutely. All right, man. Well, cool. Again, I guess any other thoughts you've got on it, but that's, I think it's awesome. You got to check it out, play with it for, more than a week and let folks know about it. Certainly happy to do that. And, again, they can go to the ESight website and, check out more information as well.
Yeah. I think it's esighteyewear.com.
Awesome. Very cool. All right, man. Well, I hope you have a great week and weekend coming up, and some more cooks on the grill. We'll get back together and talk about that a little bit more as time goes on. We appreciate folks listening to the Blind Grilling Experience podcast. Be sure and check us out on YouTube as well, youtube.com/blindgrilling. Send us an email. Let us know what you think. blindgrilling@gmail.com is our website. And as always, John, you know what we say. If you're looking,
you ain't cooking.